with a lot of utility, it eats through gas and is extremely slow. We had a full tank when we started, and by the time we got just one town over, we were on empty. Since we were going to have to stop and refuel here anyway, I decided we should check out the farming supply store just in case. Unfortunately, no nails, but surprisingly, there was some armor. So I grabbed a new overcoat for myself and some gear for Relentless. Before we left town, I stopped by the tool store as well, and there I did manage to find a few boxes, but not enough to warrant turning around. So we pressed forward with the mission, driving a short distance only to get out and refuel again. This continued on day 155. Drove a little, then stopped and refueled, until finally we made it to our destination. Luckily, this place wasn't covered in trees like I had thought, which I was grateful for, but it did make me feel like bringing the bulldozer might have been a waste. However, I did not have this feeling for long. Relentless and I spent the whole day going from warehouse to warehouse looking for boxes of nails. And at the end of the day, I was proud to say that between what we had found at the tool shop and here, we now had 16 boxes of nails. More than enough to finish our fortifications. And even more than that, while we were looting, I found an exoskeleton, which would make construction work a lot easier when we got back to the base. On day 152, it was time to make the long trek back home. We made a decent start towards the base before I had a thought. And that thought was that I never wanted to have to drive this bulldozer long distance again. So if I was ever going to clear a path through Rosewood, now would be the time to do it. So Relentless and I made a detour and cleared a drivable path down the main street of Rosewood for any potential future endeavors. Everything went quite smoothly, and we went in and out of Rosewood without much trouble. Everything was fine until our fuel barrel ran out of gas. We only had half a tank left, and in this thing that would not get us very far. I kept checking the map to see how much further until we made it into town. We were so close, but the gas was going so quickly. Finally, right as we passed the threshold of the town, the bulldozer's engine puttered out. I spent the rest of the evening finding a car I could siphon fuel from, and then I drove the bulldozer to a safer location further in town. And then I had to come up with a plan. In order to get enough fuel to get home, I was going to need to find a generator in this place and hook it up to the local gas station. So that's what we did. On day 153, we went around town checking sheds for a generator, and luckily for us, it didn't take long to find one. We took it over to the gas station and plugged it in. We refueled the bulldozer and our large gas can and headed off towards home. As soon as we got home, I didn't waste any time. I got back to work building our fort. We were so close, and now we had all the nails we could need. I spent the rest of the day building the railing for the walls, and I made it all the way around until finally, with just a small section left, we ran out of wood. Oh, so close. On day 154, I woke up and took a second to admire how everything was coming together. It was a lot of work, but I'm super happy with the way that it's turned out thus far. At this point, I had finally come up with a name fitting of our settlement. Moving forward, this place would be known as Fort Matthew. If you hadn't watched the first 100 days, you probably won't get that reference. I took out my truck and got the last bit of wood that I needed to finish the railing along the final wall. With the final piece in place, I felt like we had made real progress against the Riverside Wraiths and any other hostile survivors out there. For the first time in a while, I felt safe enough to take off my armor for a moment and just relax. I cut my hair and trimmed my beard and took another moment to appreciate Fort Matthew. I put my armor back on before going to bed, but I went to sleep on day 154 happy. A feeling that unfortunately was about to change. Day 155 nearly broke me as a person. A perfect storm crafted for my demise.